There are singers who perform the gospel, and then there are singers who become it. People whose voice isn't just an instrument, it's a testimony. Dr. Beau Williams was the second kind. On June 17, 2026, the Williams family announced that Beau Williams had entered into the presence of the Lord, peacefully, surrounded by the people who loved him most, after a courageous battle with cancer. He was 76 years old, and if you know Christian television, TBN, Daystar, The Word Network, BET, you've probably heard that voice. That unmistakable, multi-octave, Sam Cooke smooth, room-filling voice. Today, we remember the man behind it. Beau Williams was born in Houston, Texas, the son of a Baptist preacher and choir director, a preacher's kid, raised in the church, which means from the very beginning, music wasn't entertainment. It was worship. It was ministry. It was the air he breathed. His clear, booming gospel voice began winning local talent contests by the time he was a teen, and Houston took notice fast. He became a regular on a local television program, and even put out a regional record as a teenager, performing under the name Bobo Mr. Soul. This was a kid who was built for a stage. By the late 1970s, he was doing backup vocal work, serious session work, and then something remarkable almost happened. He nearly became the Temptations' lead singer after the departure of Louis Price in 1980. Think about that for a second. The Temptations. That particular door didn't open, but the one that did open next was nothing to take lightly either. With the help of guitar legend George Benson, Williams landed a recording contract with Capitol Records in 1981. Capitol Records. This was a secular R&B career, launching in earnest, and the music showed the full breadth of what this man could do. His tenor voice was flexible and frictionless, allowing him to yodel in the high register just like Sam Cooke and Johnny Taylor. Songs like Elvina, The Last Time I Made Love, and Another Place and Time earned him critical acclaim and an international following. He appeared on Star Search in 1984, where he defeated the 13-week-long reigning champion, Sam Harris. That was his biggest mainstream moment in America, beating out a competitor who'd been untouchable for 3 months. But here's what I want you to notice. Even at the height of that secular career, even when Capitol Records was cutting his albums, and Star Search was putting him on TV screens across the country, Beau Williams did not stay there. He heard a different calling. In 1989, Beau Williams made a decision that in some ways defied commercial logic. He walked away from the R&B lane and signed with Light Records. He went back to his gospel roots, and the gospel responded. His 1989 project Wonderful debuted on Billboard's Gospel Albums chart, climbed to number 2, and stayed in the top 10 for 58 consecutive weeks. 58 weeks. That's not a hit. That's a movement. The title track, a cover of the Soul Stirrers hit, written by Virginia Davis and originally sung by Sam Cooke, hit number 1 on the Gospel Singles chart. The song earned Williams a Dove Award, and the album received a Stellar Award and a Grammy nomination. He followed that up with more albums for Light Records, Higher, Love, Power, and continued releasing music well into his later years. His final album, released on his own Elbow Records label, came out in 2021. The man never stopped creating, never stopped sharing, right up until his body said it couldn't anymore. Over the course of his ministry, Beau Williams made countless appearances on TBN, Daystar, Cornerstone TV, and Bobby Jones Gospel on BET. He was a fixture on Christian television. He was also ranked among the top 10 national anthem singers in the United States, singing for the Los Angeles Lakers for 6 years, and performing for the Texas Rangers, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Houston Rockets. This was a man who moved between worlds, secular stages and sacred ones, arenas and altars, and he carried the same spirit into every single one. Now I want to spend some time on how Beau Williams walked through the last chapter of his life, because it tells you everything about who this man was. In December of 2025, he was hospitalized with a serious medical condition that required a stay extending into February 2026. In January, he underwent major surgery with a 6-month recovery timeline. He was battling cancer, undergoing chemotherapy, and facing yet another major surgery scheduled for June of this year. For a man whose livelihood, whose ministry, depended entirely on his ability to travel and perform, this was devastating in practical terms. The income stopped, the expenses did not. His family launched a GoFundMe to help cover medical costs and basic living needs during this season, and within weeks it raised over $17,000 from people all across the body of Christ, people who hadn't forgotten what his voice had meant to them. And then, in early June, just days before his passing, Beau Williams posted something to social media. I want to read it to you in full, because I think it is one of the most honest, most faithful things I've seen a gospel minister write in a very long time. He wrote, and I'm reading directly from his post, "To every person who has prayed, called, given, encouraged, visited, shared our story, or simply whispered my name before God, thank you. These last several months have been some of the hardest days my family and I have ever walked through. Cancer, surgeries, treatments, setbacks, weakness, uncertainty, none of it is light. There are moments where the body grows tired, where the mind wrestles, and where the weight of it all becomes very real. But even here, God has remained faithful. I have preached for many years about faith, endurance, grace, and trusting God in the valley. Now I find myself living the very sermons I once preached to others. And I can honestly say this: God will sustain you, even in places that try to break you. I would be less than honest if I said this journey has been easy. There have been painful days, humbling days, days where my strength felt small. But through it all, I have been surrounded by extraordinary love, from family, friends, prayer partners, and people who have shown compassion in ways I will never forget. God is still God, and I am still standing." That was June 3rd, 2026. He would be gone 14 days later. On June 17th, 2026, the Williams family released this official statement. Again, I'm going to read it to you directly, because some things shouldn't be paraphrased. With profound sadness, yet unwavering faith in the promises of God, the Williams family announces the passing of Beau Williams. After a courageous battle with cancer and related complications, Williams peacefully entered into the presence of the Lord, surrounded by his beloved family. He took his final breaths with those he loved most at his side: his devoted wife, Elvina Williams, his children, Nicole Williams, James Williams, Monica Dorsey, and Janetta Birmingham. While our hearts grieve his absence, we rejoice in the certainty of his eternal victory through Jesus Christ. Beau Williams was more than a husband, father, grandfather, minister, and gospel artist. He was a devoted and courageous servant of God, whose life was dedicated to advancing the kingdom of heaven. Through decades of ministry, music, preaching, mentorship, and personal witness, he impacted countless lives around the world. His voice inspired faith, his testimony strengthened believers, and his unwavering commitment to Christ led many souls to salvation. Throughout his journey, Williams exemplified extraordinary courage and steadfast faith. Even in his most difficult moments, he remained resolute in his trust in God. When asked if he ever doubted, his response was simple and powerful: "It's not in my nature." That unwavering conviction defined his life. And then the family closed with 5 words. Just 5 words. The battle is over. The victory is won. For those in the Houston area, or those who feel led to travel to pay their respects in person, the Williams family has announced the homegoing celebration for Beau Williams. It will be held at Fountain of Praise Church, located at 13950 Hillcroft Avenue in Houston, Texas, this Saturday, June 27, 2026. Public viewing runs from 9 to 11 a.m., followed by the Celebration of Life service at 11 a.m. More details will be linked in the comments via Path Magazine. If you'd like to continue supporting the Williams family during this time, the GoFundMe campaign remains active. The link will be in the comments. Beau Williams spent the better part of 5 decades moving between stages: R&B to gospel, arenas to altars, secular stardom to Christian television screens, in living rooms across the country. He had every secular credential he could have wanted: Capitol Records, Star Search, George Benson's endorsement. A career that could have taken him places that had nothing to do with a church. He chose the church anyway, not once, but as a sustained, lifelong commitment. And what strikes me most, reading his final words, reading the statement his family put out, is the consistency. The man preached faith and then he lived it when it cost him something. That's not nothing. In a world where Christian celebrity often collapses the moment the pressure gets real, this man wrote, "God is still God, and I am still standing," from a hospital battle he would not survive. That kind of faith is its own sermon. Rest well, Dr. Beau. The voice may be silent now, but the song remains. If this tribute meant something to you, share it with someone who knew his music. Subscribe if you're new here. And as always, we'll keep watching, we'll keep covering, and we'll keep telling the truth.